Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here this evening. We are so excited to see you. We have a very interesting topic tonight. So, we're going to continue to learn about AI and how it can help us educators. We have with us our distinguished facilitator, Monique Boone. She did our session a couple of weeks ago, so she's going to continue to build on that knowledge, and I'll give her the floor to introduce herself in just a moment. But before I do that, I do want to ask everyone to make sure that the name on the screen matches the name that you use to register for the session, and that just will help us with certificates. So, for example, if your cell number is on the screen, we would really appreciate it if you change that to your first and last name. And then if you have any questions, you may put them in the chat. We will be addressing those. If you have any technical issues, I will definitely be happy to help you with those. And then after the session, I do always send a follow-up message, and that will include the link to the video, any resources shared during this session, and all the additional information. So with that, Monique, are you ready to begin?
I am.
Wonderful. Thank you
Alrighty.
for being with us.
Yes, thank you guys so much for joining on this. It's been a busy, busy Wednesday for me. And so I am just so happy that you guys are taking time out of your evening to spend to learn about or a little bit more about AI. And I know in the present time that you have, at least you know about AI at this time. Everyone knows about it, but your level of expertise and how you utilize it and what you know about it may differ. So it's my hope that today that I can give you some tools to put in your toolkit. And we are going to have some time to just kind of play around and practice. So this is AI for Education. This is session 2. We did have session 1 back on October 15th. And I believe that one was recorded as well. But as we get started in the chat, tell us where you are from. Where are you logging in from? I'm in the great state of Texas, in Houston, Texas. So if you could share where you're from in the chat or where you are currently. Oh, San Antonio, Northeast ISD, McAllen, San Marcos, Lancaster. Do you pronounce it Lancaster or Lancaster? I live in Houston, and from Dallas, it's a different pronunciation than in Houston. So I say it both ways. Stafford. Okay, Tyler, Texas, McAllen, San Antonio. Thank you guys so much for joining us today from all different parts of the great state of Texas and beyond. So as we get started today, we always want to make sure that we ground ourselves in our mission, because that is so important to make sure that we are grounded in AFT's mission, which states that the American Federation of Teachers is a union of professionals that champions fairness, democracy, economic opportunity, and high quality public education, healthcare, and public services for our students, their families, and our communities. We are committed to advancing these principles through community engagement, organizing, collective bargaining, and political activism, and especially through our the work our members do. So just a little bit about myself. If I am a new face for you, I am currently a director of instructional excellence for ELA. It does say secondary, but I also do elementary as well. I did go to Stephen F. Austin. So if you are from Texas, especially East Texas, then you are familiar with SFA. I say it's a school so nice. I graduated twice, both with a focus on foundational literacy. I am currently working on my PhD in psychology around cognition and instruction at Grand Canyon University. I taught for 10 years, all middle school, English, journalism, and intervention. But that was for 10 years. But for the last 10 years, I have been in educational leadership, and that spanned from being an instructional coach at elementary level, working with digital tools as a specialist and as a coach. I also, I don't remember my system. Oh, here we go. I also worked with content. So I left content, went over to technology, and then back to content specialist and coordinating ELAR and social studies. And then I did a senior director, all core for multilingual services, digital learning, post-secondary education, library services, and managed instructional material. And now I am back to focusing lately an anthology around rethinking school culture in a digital age. So if you have some reading space, this is a great book, and it was written by educational leaders from all over the country. Just as we are, every time we think we're on the brink of technology taking a turn, it turns again. And so just the fearless leaders that came together to really talk about how digital learning is not going away, and how do we maximize that in our digital community with our students and adults. Okay, in the chat, from 1 to 3, what is your AI knowledge? So if you can rate your AI knowledge from 1 to 3, 1 being super novice, not knowing much, 3 being I'm really good at this, and 2 being kind of in the middle. If you can drop chat, and with how do you use it? So if you are using AI, how are you utilizing these AI tools? Thanks for sharing. I see some 1s, I see 2, I see 3. And that is kind of where we are in the landscape of AI right now, is that the people who are learning and know about it are just taking off with it. And then folks who are still kind of iffy about it, or maybe not using it as much. But one thing that I have found is you got to find time to work in it, to play in it. And I guarantee it will change your life. I don't think I can now live without AI. Okay. I see created AI tutors for your courses and teacher education students. Okay, so we're really going to lean on you to uplift your voice today. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, I can definitely understand that. Doing your best to get comfortable with it. There are some things like we don't agree, but also it is coming, it is here, it's not going away. So I totally understand that as well. Yes, help with creating those lesson plans, definitely writing emails, staying professional, getting right to the point. Absolutely, I used it a lot for that as well. So thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so our time today, we will talk a little bit about AI's environmental impact on the earth. We're also going to spend some time just reviewing prompt engineering. We went over that last time, so we won't spend a whole bunch of time, but I feel like we will need that skill and tool as we move into the latter part of our time together. We're going to talk about student tutors and teacher assistants using AI, and then we're going to spend some time kind of playing around. I'm going to show you some things. I'm going to encourage you to open up some of the tools that you use, because one of the things that I really stand firm on, especially when I was an instructional coach or technology digital learning specialist, is people needed time to play and to feel safe with playing with it. One, you can't break it. And two, if you just start using it. But I think having time to play and talk to others that are using it and learning how to use it really helps you to, one, get more comfortable, and then get proficient and learn how maybe some tools platforms that you're using, there may be some tools you're not maximizing. So we will spend some time doing that. Oh, why isn't that moving? All right, so our first thing, generative AI and looking at the environmental implications. And this is one thing that I am very cognizant of that I wasn't at first. So I want you to take a moment to just look at the picture on the screen and tell me what do you see when you think about AI and its environmental impact? What do you see? Or what does this picture bring up for you? Pollution, replacing real with fake. I see that these things, something that I have children of my own, pollution for sure. And I have to teach them about it as well. AI came in so fast and we began to use it without the knowledge of how AI works and the implications that it has on our environment. So I will share, this one is it's drastic. However, one thing that I have learned in my reading and research around AI is our AI giants will stop at nothing. They will stop at nothing to be the best, the first, and the top. And so that is very, very, very scary. And when you think of hubs that they are building, where are they building them? Well, they're going to build them in places where they have big spaces, which are usually small rural towns, and it comes in and it's sucking up the electricity and it's sucking up the water, because if they're not being environmental friendly and forward when they are building these buildings, or when they're doing their own reading and research around AI, it can look like the right side of the picture here. So one thing that I had to learn is that it takes a lot of energy, of course. And in a couple of years, I want to say, don't quote me on this, but in like 2030 or 2035, it will the majority of the electricity will be used on these computer hubs for AI. So the majority of our electricity on Earth will be used for AI. So that's pretty scary. So where does water come in? Because water plays a big component in in AI, is because you have all these machines, all these computers, and they need to stay cool. Well, how do you cool them? With water. So they go to the rural areas, they infiltrate the water system or even build their own, but it has greatly impacted water pressure and water cleanliness in these rural communities. And so when we think about AI and when we talk to our kids about AI, just being a little bit more um, empathetic to our greenness of the earth that we need, and how we utilizing not just AI but all the different machines and robots, and AI is so easy because it's right here in our pocket. And we think I put in something in the chat bot, and I have a conversation, I get what I need, and then I move on, not thinking when you put in information in that prompt, it goes to several computers. Those computers configure however computers do, and then it comes back together. I did not know that. I did not know that it took that much when I first started. So I think it's important for us to make sure that we know this and that we're teaching our kids. That's a good question. Why our bills are going up? I've never thought about that, but that's going to be on my mind. So this is an article, which you're going to get this slide deck, so don't worry about taking pictures. You're going to get this slide deck. But this is an article, and it just explains, like I said, I thought that it was, I'm just typing in the computer, it's going to go fetch the World Wide Web because it's a cloud that's up in the sky, and then it's going to give me back the information. When in all actuality, you see here, the laptop, I type in what I need, my prompt in AI, it goes to all these different computers to get the information, and then it brings it back really quick in one spot. So that is a lot of computer libraries, is what they call them. And they set up these big buildings with just nothing but hubs of these libraries, because again, they want to be the biggest, the most innovative. So here's a little data specifically. So as you look at it, you'll kind of see who is the biggest electricity and water consuming digital friend that we have. You see it, it is Google. And we use Google a lot, followed by Microsoft. And I think those two things are what I use the most, Google and Microsoft. And you see that it is consuming a lot of electricity and a lot of water. So when we think about our environmental impacts, and here, this particular image is labeled Big AI's Dirty Secret, because that's some things that we didn't know. I didn't know. So Microsoft's annual electricity use could power 48 Disneyland Paris parks for an entire year. Apple makes 1 million in sales with the same electricity needed for 152 full EV chargers. Google's annual water consumption will fill over 120 million bathtubs, enough for almost everyone in Japan to take a bath. That's annually. So there's a lot of water and a lot of electricity. Okay, so we're going to go back and visit AI prompting. We went over it last time, but I want to make sure that we stamp it so that you guys are kind of familiar if you are like, I'm a one and I don't know much. Generative AI and the engineering prompting, and I call it from artificial intelligence to information augmentation. So as educators, we always think like, we don't want the kids to use it because they're going to cheat. But we know AI isn't going away. So our best bet is to prepare our students so that they can use it, because in school, we call it cheating. In corporate, in the workforce, they call it productivity. And so we have to teach our students to be evaluative, how to use it to get what they need without risking their information input. And then how to change that AI to information augmentation for themselves. It is a very powerful tool for students to gain. And so we want to make sure that they are getting these tools as well.
You know, you want to start a little backstory, right? I wouldn't expect you to.
What about you?
I am just going to, there is someone in here not muted. I think they're muted now. Okay. Okay, so I got a little off track. Let me see. Okay, so AI prompting. AI prompting is the process of creating effective prompts to get out what you put in. So you put in a prompt because you want a specific response. The prompting is to make sure you get it right and you continue to revise it so that you get what you need. It's like a translator between human intent and machine output. So always remember, it's not magic. It is going through all of the computers, all this knowledge, and it's bringing it back to you. So it's human intent is what you put in. The machine output is what it's going to give back to you. And why does this matter? So AI is a powerful tool. One, it's very fast. It how you instruct it is how you will determine your output. And so that is why a poorly crafted prompt will lead to inaccurate or irrelevant results. For example, when you give kids a problem, you give kids a prompt they're supposed to write or figure out math, what do? They copy and paste exactly what you put in there, what you assign them, and then they give back something, they turn it in. They don't check over it, they don't check through it, they get it, and you a lot of times can look at it, especially if it is a middle schooler and they put it in and they get back a writing and you're looking at this like, I know you didn't write this. This is like doctoral level wording. And so I know you didn't do that. And our key aspects, which we're gonna go over, I'm gonna show you two documents that you can use. You wanna make sure that you are specific, clear and concise with what you want. You're going to make sure you give it context, give examples if you need to. Be iterative in your processing means you put in something, you get information out, you read through it, analyze it, you need to make some tweaks, then you prompt it with the tweaks. Some examples are crafting prompts in a chat bot. That's what we do most of the time. Make sure we give it a specific tone, content creation, and then data analysis. They have a lot of data analysis AI tools, and they're just coming out, which is going, it does affect a lot of our computer jobs. So here are the two tools. On the left, you see the AI prompt engineering. It's a guide formula. So you want to guide the prompt. You want to make sure that it knows, you provide context to ensure that it can better understand what you're asking. You identify it, so give it a specific role as the AI. What should it assume? So if you're writing a letter to a parent about, as a reminder, or maybe you are crafting up your feedback from an art, you want to give it a specific role. So I would say things like, I am a principal writing an email to a teacher who is consistently late. I am an art facilitator drafting next steps for a student who has this specific IEP. So you want to make sure you give it a specific role so that it assumes the role and then kicks back the knowledge in a way that the role would, if that makes sense. You want to make sure you are specific in your details, formatting and subtasks. And then always, if you have one, give it an example. So where it has the plus sign where you can add, if you want it in a rubric, if you want it in a table, if you want a picture of it, then you can give it an example that will help. So that's the guide, GUIDE formula. Also have the prompt educators. It is the 5S model. Again, same thing, just a different tool. I mean, just a different picture. So a different way to say it. So if you are a teacher and you're looking to add in one of these, you can choose either or. They're basically the same, but you're going to set the scene again, provide the chatbot context, be specific in the instructions, simplify your language, use conversational approach. Like, you don't have to be like, I am the CEO of a company. You can use your language and jargon. I actually like doing that because sometimes I just have to type it out and then I say, make it concise, make it clear, make this warmer, make it happy and cheery. You want to structure your output again, like giving it examples or details, specifically what is it that you want out. And then anytime your chat asks you for feedback, then give it the feedback, especially if it's something that you're using over and over, because it'll learn you over time. And in the chat, if you have any questions, please drop them in the chat. But I want you to thinking about the guide formula and the 5S model. If you were going to use this, maybe with to show your peers, to use for yourself, or maybe in your classroom, which one would you use? The guide formula or the 5S model? Drop it in the chat. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, I see 5S It's popular. Okay, okay. You will get this again before you leave so that you can have it and use it. Okay, and then this one is from AI for Education. These are just some strategies that you can use. Again, as you're looking at your prompting, we have 0 shot. So directly ask for an output without giving examples. You can do few shots, providing examples of desired output to guide the model's response. And I like that. And then ask it questions. So I like to put in my prompt or put in my what I want, and then ask it questions, which prompts me to think about how I want to either proceed with what I'm doing, or think about what I want the output to be. So chain of thought, ask the model to break down its reasoning step by step before generating the final output. I have used this before a lot of times. Again, I am a grad student, and while I don't use any GPT to write for me, I do use it to help to guide me in making writing better articles and essays. So breaking down the article or asking ChatGPT a question, and then it will and then say, tell me, why did you say that? Or did you respond that way? Give me a step-by-step of your reasoning, and it will. And then explain, then respond. Ask the model to explain the concept before applying it in context. Again, using it to learn, because it is really, really fast. And I am up working at 2 o'clock in the morning, I can't email my professor and get a response quickly, but what I can do is utilize AI. It will help me. Same as your students, and teaching them how to explain it, which we're going to look at a tool today that it does this wonderfully.
Well, thanks so much for breaking all this stuff down and stuff to us. I ain't gonna lie, it kind of was like a haunted house in the beginning, with all
Yes,
the stuff, because I didn't know all that, but like I say, I'm like, it's here, we got to use it. We're forced with it, so hey.
for sure. Absolutely. And I think one of the biggest things is just for yourself, for your children, if you have them, and for your students, who you are charged to educate as best we can, is to teach them some of these things, because as kids, even when I was a kid, you just go blindly. Like, it is some things that you don't think about, but it's not for them. They think, oh, I could just hurry up and get this done quickly. But it's like, no, let me help you utilize it so that you can be as productive as possible moving into your next stage in life, be it college or on the job. Because if you go to college and you copy and paste, they're going to kick you out. However, if you don't know how to use it, then advancing in your career, you'll have kids who know how to do it, or young adults who can do it, and then they'll come in and shoot out. But being very safe about it as much as possible. And we're going to go over some tools. You'll notice that a lot of your districts probably have really tightened their guidelines on what you can use at school. And you may notice that something you could use last year, you can't use this year. So they have really, as districts, to keep their information safe, keep your information safe, have really just closed those guardrails, which is a great thing for safety. But as a teacher, you're like, but I like that tool. And they're like, no, we're not using that one. We're going to collectively use this. And it's for a lot of, on the instructional tech side, I understand, but being an educator, I'm like, come on, that one's not bad, but I can also understand why. So now we're going to look at generative AI as a student tutor, and also as a teacher assistant. So in the chat, or you can come off of mute, that students are able to use as tutors, or if you're using it as your assistant. I saw someone put in the chat earlier that they use it to help with lesson plans or craft an email. But how are your kids able to use it as student tutors?
I'm gonna test this and try this out because I never even knew, and I have 3 kids of my own. So I'm definitely gonna try this out.
Yes, well, I am so happy to hear that. Now, yeah, I'm going to share my email information, also my socials, so that way as you're trying it out and you hit a road bump, you can get in contact with me, or if you have a celebration, you can get in contact and share that, because I'm excited. And the more that we are scared of it, the more we won't utilize it. And I tell you, I have 3 kids, and mostly my son that's a senior, teaching him how to use it, because he will be, in college and in the workforce here soon. He's already taken all these dual credit courses. So for me, it's very important. When it first came out and he had did a little copy and paste, I think that was in like 7th or 8th grade. And I was like, let me just read over what you have. And he showed me, and I knew immediately what he had done. And so just teaching him along the way has been very helpful for him as well, to still be a student of integrity while also utilizing AI. I also took him to a tech conference that wasn't an education. It was just a tech conference. And he was blown away at the way that they were utilizing AI. And it changed his thoughts on how he utilizes it for himself and how he wanted to choose his major. Okay, so Magic School, we're going to talk about Magic School. Yeah, we're going to talk about Magic School. That's a pretty popular one. Yes. I like that. Using it, the agent for your syllabus and lecture notes. Criteria. For sure. Thank you so much for sharing. So I want to share with you guys right here, Bloom's 2 Sigma problem. And this came out way back in the 80s, but it says that it shows a level of success, so achievement score. So you see where lecture is on this little curve, and then mastery learning. But if a student has an individual tutor and they master the learning, their achievement rate goes up. Well, if you have someone who is those students, they are putting in the work, they're doing as much as they can, they're working hard, and they have that tutor that is there for them. But if they have an individual tutor, that it shoots up. And so when we talk about student tutors, for sure, we see that success. And I like how a lot of our platforms now, and the platforms that your school districts are probably or organizations are using, they are really trying to hone in on the tools that students can utilize that don't just give them the answer, but walk them through the thoughts and the processes, which is very, very important. But I was not surprised, but to see this just in pictorial form, just knowing that our individual tutoring really does push that student success. So here are some tools. Now they keep growing, and you're probably looking at these and like, oh, I use that. Like, I use Perplexity quite often. I don't use Claude, but I do use Copilot. I do use ChatGPT. Magic Studio I'm familiar with. I did not know Padlet had an AI. When I first looked at this model, and I always say, oh, I want to go back to that, but I haven't. So I'm going to put that in my head to go back to Padlet. Then Formative AI, I've used that before. So it's a lot of these tools that I've used, not all of them, but it's quite a bit that I have used. And then you'll see here on the side, 11 Labs, Notebook LM, ChatGPT are the things that I use probably the most. But I do have or have used a lot of these. Do you guys see some tools on here that you use? Or maybe some that aren't on here that you use a lot? Please drop them in the chat so that we can remember to go back and look at them. And almost everything has some type of chat on it, chat bot on it. And it doesn't matter if it is Amazon, if you are on Google, if you are on whatever website, it has a chat bot. They are not even hard to set up. But one thing, again, just like these platforms, you want to remember is if it is free, you are paying in data. If something is free or super cheap, you are paying in your data. And it is so easy for these companies to get your information because you see a platform and you're like, oh, that looks cool. And then you get it and then you're putting your information in, which is why they have put a lot of guardrails in for kids in education, because those kids' data and information can get stolen or sold, and then we won't even know, which is why they really crack down probably like your last year and this year on specific tools that you can use. In the chat, if you don't mind, what tools are you using at your school or district? Or maybe you're not using them, but you have them. And you're like, we have it, but I don't really use it. Okay, ChatGPT, that's a big one. A lot of people use that one for sure. So now I want to move into really looking at some of these tools. I'm going to show you some tools, but also if you have some specific tools, right now, I want you to pull up something that you use. Oh, maybe my internet is a little slow. Okay, I see them coming in. ChatGPT, Magic School, Clash Champion. I haven't used that. Copilot, Gemini, Notebook LM. It's my favorite. Perplexity has become my favorite being a doctoral student. ChatGPT, a lot of ChatGPTs. Okay, so it is a couple that I'm going to specifically look at today and kind of show you a little bit around it. And then hopefully if I'm sharing something and you're like, oh, I use that, and it's something on there that maybe you know that I haven't showed or not showing, just you can come off mute or put it in the chat. And Claudia, if you will, if someone puts something in the chat and I'm like, and I don't see it, just let me know. Or you can come off mute and we could talk about it. But I do want you to get some time to kind of look at the tool. All of these things that I have here, I don't pay for. Wait, I do pay for ChatGPT. All the other things I don't pay for. And I do pay for ChatGPT simply because I use it a ton. I use it a lot. So I do pay for it. It's worth it for me because I do use it so much, but the other tools I don't pay for. So Perplexity is really good for, yes, thank you so much, Mr. Jenkins, for research. It is. So if I am doing research, I'm going to choose Perplexity over ChatGPT. Well, I'll probably look at ChatGPT, but I'm going over to Perplexity. It is because it's better for that. So one of the things that a lot of platforms are doing now is they're going into making GPTs that are very specific. So you can find, like, let's say if you're a lawyer, you can look at a GPT that focuses in on laws and court cases and things like that. If you're a doctor or a scientist, so they're really making very specific GPTs, and I feel like Perplexity is one of those that's like for research. It's cornering the market for research, in my opinion. And Mr. Jenkins, you can put in the chat or come off mute, but that is kind of how I see it. But there are some other platforms and tools that if you are a chemist, you would use a specific, choose a platform over a different one, because again, it's kind of like a Google search. So you can narrow your Google searches down to specific articles or topics. So they have done that, but in a mass way. So they, like for lawyers and research teams, paralegals, like they have platforms that they can use especially for them, and it will bring up all the court cases, the laws, and it is just a little bit more credible than just going on Google or just going to ChatGPT, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to start off. If you were with me last time, we did go over NotebookLM, but we do have more people on here today. So I am going to show that. If you don't have NotebookLM, you could just type it in your Google, find it, NotebookLM. I don't pay for it, but I do like to use it. So I am going to share. Some of those tools. So give me a second. Let me find my NotebookLM. Let me see, I should be logged in. Maybe not. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we have like, here are the recent ones that I've played around with. Here are some that are already here that have already been created. So let me tell you about NotebookLM. What I really love is you'll notice here, let me go back. You can create a new one, and it is like a blank slate. These are already, they already have different articles in here. This is one that I've created. This is back in April. And I'll click on this. No, not this one. And then this, what I did was I was preparing for a talk that I had to do, kind of like a TED Talk. And I created a slide deck. I did an outline. I pulled some different articles and I uploaded them. And so with this particular NotebookLM, it's only going to pull from the articles or the things that I choose. So I can come back and say, okay, well, I want to look at these 10 resources. Now I'm doing something, I only want to look at 3. So whatever is checked is what it will run in that particular time. You can add on, take off, add more. So I really like this one. So I'm going to show, and this is just one when I was working on at TED Talk. So let me show you like the world ahead 2025. No, I don't want to go there. Let's talk about Yellowstone, because Yellowstone is something that's really big right now in the news. All right, so we have, this one is about Yellowstone. Again, this one was pre-created. I did not create this one. This one is pre-created, but it has different things here. Resources, tons of resources. And again, whoever created this, well, I guess like travel.com, they can keep adding to it. And so let's say, for example, if you want to investigate because you want to go to Yellowstone, or maybe your students are working on geographic areas or what is going on here in Yellowstone, the spring or the volcano or whatever is under Yellowstone that keeps making the earth jump. Y'all probably in the chat like, girl, this is what you're saying. But if you are exploring that, again, this is just one thing of many. You can build your own, but they also have some. But I just want to show you how this tool works. So you have all of your articles. So let's say if I wanted to do something specific, I don't want to know about activities. I don't want to know about guides. I do want to know about climate change, fire. I don't know about that. So we'll keep all the rest of this. I want to know about the plants, the wildlife, the nature, and all of the things, the extreme heat, history, and culture. So now what I have clicked, that is the only thing that the GPT will pull from when I'm asking questions. So they have some preset questions already here that I could ask if I was doing a research or preparing for something that I can ask, or I can type it in myself. So for you, or maybe for your students, they could put in their information and then it will only pull from there. And then here I can start asking, what is happening? So I just put in what is happening at Yellowstone with the ground. So I could be very clear. It's going to take a second, but then it'll pull up the information in just a second. It's probably thinking like, girl, why did you write that question like that? It's definitely how my daughter, my son would write it. But then we see all the information. And again, it only pulls from what is checked on the left side. So then when I go to Studio over to the right, it has some different things. Already it has a thinking map. And again, only pulling from what is checked. So if I want to know about the wildlife, if I want to know about the plants, and then it'll keep giving like a mind map of that. Also, let me go back to the Studio because I want to show you this. But I'm going to reshare.
Importantly, give you the lowdown on how to plan your own trip to see it all safely and smartly. Wow, right? Just take a look at this. Grand Prismatic Spring. It gives you...
So it created that just based on the tools that what's here, not just anything, but just based on what's here. And then I also want to show you this.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're doing something special just for you. You told us you're heading to Yellowstone, so we dug into the National Park Service's own resources.
Yeah, we went through a whole bunch of their web pages.
Right, the official stuff planning guides, geology facts, wild.
So what it does, which I'll go back and I'll show you from mine. I'll go here. No. Just because this is the one I created. Why's it doing that? Okay, here we go. So just to show you, because all that stuff was already created, but I wanted to show you the top part, the audio overview. That is where it creates the podcast. It gives a video overview, mind map, different reports, flashcards, a quiz. So lots of things that you can do with it. So again, I put in all this information and now I want to show you this.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are really digging into a stack of research, presentations, and strategic plans, all focused on a really big topic.
Yeah, instructional technology and innovation in K-12 education.
Right. And we're coming at this with a very specific sort of human-centered lens.
Exactly. The central thesis we've pulled, and it comes up again and again in the sources, is pretty stark. Technology is not the solution. Humans are.
Okay.
So as you can see, it pulled from the information I had. I was doing a talk, and what I would do was play this over and over. So I would play it in the car. I would play it while I was cleaning up. I would play it while I was studying and preparing, because it helped me to be able to vocalize in a way that was clear what I had written down. And, you know, it's one thing to write it down to make the PowerPoint, but to actually stand in front of people and speak could be different. For me, that could be, I'm nervous and I might forget something, but that really helped it to be a little bit more conversational and less robotic. So just think about how that can impact your students, whether they are EB or not, because my own kids, sometimes like when they have to do a presentation, they don't think about, oh, I need to not rock. I need to not say, I need to have my facts. I need to, like, they don't think about that. But to have a tool like this where they can put in the information, process it, and then have it talk back to them in a way that is conversational, and then how much they can, you know, hold in or retain that information. Yay, yes. Those are super helpful. So let's think, because last time I talked to someone, I forgot her name, and I don't know if she's on, let me know if you're on, but she was in like health science. So her kids were working on tools that were heavy in like scientific, that's very specific. So like she could put all of her different tools, if they're working on something specific here, she could put them here, and then use, of course, you can still use all these tools like a GPT, but it only pulls from the resources that she puts. And then she could share it, and the kids could utilize it. It's usable for her students. They could create the mind maps, but also the like the podcast. So tell me what you think. And also, if you have space, if you don't have a Notebook LM right now, would be a great time for you to open it up. Again, I only use the free version. So I don't know what tools they have on a paid version, because for this tool, I only use the free version. And I want to give you a minute to open it up, kind of play in it. If you do use it and you have seen some success in using it, please come off mute and share it with us. Because I just love the stories, and I always learn something when I'm working with someone and they have used the tool before. So if you use this particular tool before and you found success, if you could share, that would be great. But I'll give you like a minute to pull it up, to kind of look at it. Maybe you want to just put it in Google and research it and say, okay, well, I just want to see what it's about, and then I will look at it a little later. But I do want you to get a minute to kind of look through it. And I wonder if
Thanks for sharing it. I've never used it. I actually just went over there and looked at it, and I was trying to figure out how I was gonna do some notes of this presentation, and bam, you just gave
right
me the answer.
here.
So thank you.
Yay. Thank you so much for that. I don't remember it asking for my home address. That's interesting.
Yeah, I had the option to skip it. I didn't realize it was like really tiny at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
Skipped it.
And I see here, and I'm on a free version, which I have never really looked at the featured notebooks, and it only gives me 9 of them. I wonder on the paid version if I could search or look up more, or maybe if I just hit all. Hold on, maybe I told the story. No, I only see 9. So maybe I only get 9 on the free version, and they change ever so often. I hadn't really looked at these. because this would be great if they had some that is geared towards my topic. Yes, definitely get it home. When you get home, look up Notebook LM. I'll give us about 1 more minute to kind of look through, ask any questions as you're setting up. And then while you're doing that, I'll just go over one more time. So if I wanted to create a new notebook, I would go here. If I'm going to upload sources, I'm gonna go here. So my particular topic for work is I am looking at sleep, cognitive functioning, and working memory. So that's why you'll see a lot of, oh, y'all probably don't see, but I have all of these articles about the effects of sleep and sleep deprivation on cognitive functioning and working memory. So I'm just gonna upload some of those articles. And then you'll see they begin to populate. It gave it a title. And again, this is random. If I want to use all the sources, I can use all of the sources, but maybe I want to create a audio overview. It will take these and create that audio overview video. So all of these tools. So again, you'll see what you've added to the left. You can add more. It says discover. I've never discovered before. Oh, but you can look up at the web or look at Google in your Google Drive. Like if you have more in your Google Drive, I want to be very specific with just these articles. So then I can begin to ask it or prompt it questions based on these articles. Okay, so you're a school principal. Again, I gave it a title. And then here's the context. A lot of your students are falling asleep. They're struggling to stay awake in class. What are some facts you can provide to parents around the importance of night sleep? How do I want it? What's the output? What do I want? Put it as a 1-pager. And then let's see what happens. And it's gonna think, and again, it's only going to pull from the articles that I put in. While it's thinking and doing that, I could create an audio overview. It's generating a mind map for me. So all these different tools. And again, now I have something. Now, am I just going to copy and paste it? No, but what I am going to do now as the principal, I can go through and pull out the things that are most important. I can maybe even say use less words, add a graphic, things like that. Let's see if it generated my mind map. So if I go here, I do have a mind map here. That is giving me. So lots of nifty tools. And then I could go and add the audio. Now the audio takes, I would say it's a 1 function turnaround for the audio, meaning if I hit generate, then I could go and get something to drink or get a snack. I can take a break and look at like my social media real quick and then come back. So it's like a 1 function. It takes about 3 to 4 minutes to generate, but once it does, again, it'll pull just from what I've given it. Any questions or thoughts around Notebook LM? Okay, let's see. It might help to show that the audio overview can be given different settings and prompts. Do I hit the pencil button to do that? I've never tried that. I've just
Oh. Yeah, so yeah, if you click on that, of course, if you do it right now, it'll disrupt the flow of the one you're making. But you can either make them so it kind of gives you like the middle range of like it's always going to be kind of the same sort of thing, but you can actually make it really short and concise. You can actually make it a long lecture, if it's something that you need a lot of information for. But you can even give it prompts like, you want it to um, maybe be really upbeat and maybe even um, a little humorous at times. Like maybe you could pull out, things like that. So it really kind of gives, I think that's why my students really enjoy the podcast because I give it some prompts like that. And the other thing I've noticed is if you just use the default settings, it kind of tends to let the sort of male voice sort of drive the whole thing. So sometimes I have to tell it to let the female voice kind of take the lead, and then it'll kind of do that. So there are some biases within the system that you have to kind of over you know work through and tell it to kind of check its
Okay.
times.
Thank you so much for sharing that because I did notice that the guy is like the lead on the podcast, and then the lady, she comes in, she does a lot of oh yeah, and she will put her input, but he is the dominating voice. So I love that because I didn't even think I didn't know that was an option. So I'm definitely going to play with that later. I'm gonna give this a chance to generate, but later tonight, well, not tonight, but tomorrow, I will come back and play around with that. Thank you so much for sharing. I do appreciate that so much.
Sure.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do that's still generating, and I really think it's more my internet than it taking this long because it usually doesn't take this long. So the next one that I want to show you guys is 11 Labs. And I don't know if anyone here is familiar with 11 Labs, but I like it. And I like it because it's like having a conversation to help generate ideas. So let me go back. This is the one I did last time. So I'm going to go to home. And I want to create an agent. So do I want a blank agent or personal assistant? We're going to do a blank agent. Does it get more options? I don't know. Last time I named him John. This time I name it Cameron. I'm going to create an agent. So you're creating a chat bot, and then you do the specification. So if you want in a different language, you can do that. So I'm going to leave all of this how it is. I'm going to test agent. And so now I can just call it. And let's say, for example, right now our 8th graders are reading about Frankenstein. And they have a provocative question around, are humans responsible for how their creation, like what their creation does? So that is their provocative question that they're trying to figure out throughout, but we know that Frankenstein is a classic. Our kids are really have that productive struggle around the voice and the language. And so building that characterization, but understanding the language, right? So I'm just setting the scene for what the agent and I are going to talk about. So I'm going to call the agent. Hello, I am a teacher and my students are reading Frankenstein. So they are reading the classic version as well as the graphic novel, but they're struggling with a little bit of understanding the time and a culture in which the setting for Frankenstein. How can I better help them? They are middle school 8th graders. Oh, I did all that I had to. Hold on. Frankenstein. Come on, what is happening? What is happening to my chat? Hello. Like the volume is on. I don't know what's happening. It worked perfectly last time. Hold on, give me a second. Why is it acting like this? Oh, it's me, guys.
Figured out what was causing the issue. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
Yes, I am a teacher. My students are 8th graders. They are reading Frankenstein, so they're reading the classic novel as well as the graphic novel, but they are struggling with understanding the setting of the story and how the culture and the time frame impacts the story plot. How can I help them?
That's a great question. Understanding the setting, culture, and time frame is crucial for comprehending a classic like Frankenstein. To help your 8th graders, you could try creating a visual timeline of the story's events alongside key historical moments of the late 18th and early 19th centuries. This would allow them to see how the scientific advancements and societal norms of that era influenced Mary Shelley's writing and the themes she explored.
Oh, that's a good point. So I have some students and they're struggling a little bit to connect. A lot of my students they're in like extracurricular activities, football, basketball, band. Is there a way that I can help them better understand the story through making it more relevant for them?
Absolutely. To make Frankenstein more relevant for students involved in extracurriculars, you could draw parallels between the dedication and discipline required in their activities and the ambition of Victor Frankenstein. For example, you could discuss how Victor's relentless pursuit of knowledge, much like an athlete's pursuit of a championship or a musician's mastery of an instrument, ultimately leads to both triumph and tragedy. This can help them connect with the themes of ambition, responsibility, and the consequences of one's actions on a personal level.
Oh, great. Can you help me to explain characterization to the students as a skill and how it relates to the characterization of Victor Frankenstein?
Certainly.
Good enough.
Characterization is the process. I can definitely help you explain characterization to your students using Victor Frankenstein as an example. Characterization is the process by which an author reveals a character's personality. It can be shown directly through the narrator's descriptions or indirectly through a character's actions, words, thoughts, and how other characters react to them.
Okay, now remember I was muted. Okay, because it could go on and on. But with 11 labs, and that's just one component that I really enjoy. This could be used for students and student tutors and or for your you as a teacher, or if you have teachers that you're over, maybe your partner teacher, but you can really ask it about a lot of things and it'll help you. So as a teacher, if I am going through, because for the teachers that I service, they have not read Frankenstein. Like they are reading it with their students if it's like their first year. Lessons that they do, they're not reading the whole novel. And I think it's important for our teachers to understand the whole novel, even though the students are reading excerpts. So This could help them to bridge that gap of knowledge as teachers, but also as a student. So if my student is struggling with an area and they're like, Miss, I don't understand, you can, if you have this set up, and they can come, and if they can have it on their computers, or if not, then they're just going over, talking to it, getting what they need, and then getting back to work. Definitely having that personal individualized tutor there for them to help them, along the way, I think is a very powerful tool. Use 11 Labs. I know we talked about it last week, but has anyone used it prior to tonight, or used it since we talked about it last week? Or maybe we have someone brave who's like, I've never heard of it, but I am excited to try it. So that was Notebook LM and 11 Labs. Oh yes, it's very helpful. It's very cool. There are a lot of different components in 11 Labs. I've kind of played and toyed with this some, but this one is my favorite because it just like gets right to the point. I can have that conversation, ask it something, and then it'll give me information back. And I love the way that I said, well, my students aren't connecting. How can I make it relatable? They can give that to me in an instant. Like, I love that tool. So yeah, that is 11 Labs. I'll give you a second if you haven't already to take a look at it, maybe add it to your list of things you want to try. Maybe you have it up and you're playing with it. If you have any questions, I'll give it about 1 more minute and then we'll move on to the next tool. All righty, so now we'll go to the very popular ChatGPT, which is one that we use, most people use a lot. And if you aren't using ChatGPT, you're probably using Claude or Copilot or Gemini or something that is a GPT, but just not Chat. But Chat is like the most popular one. So with the ChatGPT, which are things you probably already know, a lot of people put in what they want here and then wait for the output. I need to write an email, or maybe I've crafted the email already. I'm going to put it in here and say, I am a director writing an email to my APIs, make it concise, but make it friendly. And then it'll do that. Most people know it's the most general thing to use with ChatGPT. So I do want to just show you some quick little tools that you can use if you use it a lot. So one thing you'll notice about mine is on the side I have projects. So I am in school, so you'll see here that is the current course I'm in, which is almost done, and I'm moving to course number 3. So clap for me, please. I do work for KIPP, so that's that. We see I have an AFT folder. Also, this is my sister who's also working on her doctorate. So we have that project there. And that's my previous course. So you can go in if you're working on something for a specific category or subject, you can put it there. So that way, if you need to go back and find it, you can find it. I think I might only put one thing there. You'll see here, a lot of things will say add warmth, rewrite, but everything that I do for KIPP, I put it over here. So look, rewrite for clarity, rewrite for excitement, rewrite for clarity. I do that a lot. Or if I recently, oh, it must not be in here. Actually did something for Frankenstein, but I don't know where it is. Where I had it generate some information about Frankenstein for, oh, here it goes. And so you can find it. So if you use it a lot and you ever need to go back, isn't it? But here are, you can save them as projects. Another thing that a lot of people don't use are the tools to the side or the plus sign. So you can file. So like Notebook LM, you can put in the files that you wanted to generate the information from, and it will generate. I love the deep research. For the deep research, you only have so many. For what I pay for, I only have so many, but if you can do a deep research, upload that information. You can add different sources. I haven't gone into agent mode. I haven't used that one. Study and learn. So there's a lot of different tools that we could use, especially like I was saying earlier, I have a son that's a senior. So teaching him how to use the tools to not just copy and paste, but you wrote an essay, you have the rubric, have ChatGPT look at the essay and then look at the rubric and give you feedback. That's something that his teacher would do. That's actually his teacher in 11th grade, yes, last year taught them how to do it. And I thought, oh, okay, that's cool to teach them. So I taught, just to reiterate everything he does, not just for his English class, but all of his classes, to put it in like a GPT and then put the rubric in, get feedback. Also to ask it questions. So if you get a prompt or you write something, and you can ask, you can say, what questions should I ask, or what questions will better help me to understand what I'm doing. You can tell it to ask you questions based on what you put. And I love that because it'll help you to really, or your students to really dig into what they're doing without you as the teacher always having to prompt them with specific questions. Then you have your GPTs over here, which a lot of people don't know. So again, it will pull from specific things. It's a lot of different tools that you can use on here. So you have Scholar GPT, which is something that would be really good. I haven't ventured into Scholar GPT because I use Perplexity. But they do have a lot of tools that's more specific, instead of just putting in your prompt and then getting something out. Oh, so if you wanted to design something, you can attach it to your Canva. So they have lots of tools. Has anyone gone in and ventured and looked at all the tools, or are you like me and just using it for the basic prompting? I was actually at a different presentation, and we were talking about ChatGPT, and someone who was already in their doctoral program told me about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, like here's a grammar checker. So lots of tools for productivity. So just lots of things to kind of think about when you are using ChatGPT. You can go in. I know, right? So I pay for it too, and I don't utilize it. And I think maybe over like Thanksgiving break or Christmas break, I'm really going to find some time to really go in here, because we're paying for it and we're not maximizing what we pay for. And I use it a lot, but I'm not using it enough because there are lots of tools in here that I haven't ventured into using. So I'm going to put that on my, not do now, but do later, like during Christmas break when I have a couple of days off from school. Yeah. Yes, in our free time. There will be free time. I'm going to claim it. There will be free time at some point. Or maybe I'll just neglect something super important and do it, and I'll just call that my free time. But yeah, so that is a little bit more about ChatGPT. And again, one of the biggest things that you want to remember is to go back when you are prompting, to make sure you use some type of guide so that you get what you want, and then you can utilize it to go back and forth. I lost where it is. No. Oh, it's over here. so that you can prompt specifically what you want. I'm trying to think, there is. Oh. No, that wasn't it. What? I was trying to type in Frankenstein, so it must have been, I've lost it, but I was trying to show you where so here, like I was planning out, what am I going to talk about? Oh, here we go. Questions for Frankenstein. And then I put this here and it gave me all of these tools. And I thought I must have did it somewhere else. Where you keep asking it questions or clarifying what you want, and then it'll keep refining. But I've used it so much, and because I use it by project, it has refined. So when I use things under the KIPP project, when I prompt it, it will say, so based on KIPP Texas Public Schools, blah, 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 because KIPP has a lot of abbreviations. So I can use those abbreviations most of the time, and it will know what I'm talking about because I use it under this project so much. So it's a little bit about ChatGPT. I'm sure you guys already have it, but I hope that you can go into your GPTs and find something that's a little bit more specific and just to improve your usage of ChatGPT. So that is ChatGPT. So now I want to, how many people use Magic School? So Magic School is another popular one. Oh, good. Okay. So Magic School is another popular one, and I love it because it is so educator friendly. Is this my Magic School? Yes. So it is so teacher friendly, educator friendly, and I love it because it does all types of tools for you. So we have our any kind of like rubric generator, IEP generator, academic content, writing feedback, lesson planning. So if you guys aren't using Magic School Bus, I have only utilized the free version. So I don't even know what the paid version, what it offers, but I have been able to be successful in using the free version, but I love it because it's all things educator. So snaps up to that for us. If I wanted to create a multiple choice. So again, professional email. I wanted to show you guys, let me see if I can get it. Generate an email to your families. Respond to an email, letter of recommendation. Like the list just goes on and on, guys. It goes on and on. There is one that might be incognito. Teacher eval observations. If I wanted to create a lesson in a 5E lesson model, if you guys are still having to do that, you can. I put in a grade. I'm gonna go about 7th grade. And in 7th grade, they're doing and then I'll have to add all of those things. We're not going to, and then it'll just prompt. So then from here, I can prompt what it is I need. Do I want to make a 1-pager? Do I want to make it something friendly? Do I need to add in articles? So I love it because all of these tools, and this is just in a 5E lesson plan. So if I wanted to explain brain functions, understanding the brain functions and how injuries affect brain function, then this already put like a lesson in 5E. I could say I wanted to go 5 days. I want it to be a 2-day lesson, then it will break it down for you. So that's just like one of the tools. So if you have not ventured into Magic School, then I really, if you're a teacher, I really do encourage you to use it because there are so many tools that you can use. I love the writing feedback. So let's say I need to give feedback. I can upload the rubric. I can insert my students' writing. Most of it, the time they're doing online. So I can put my rubric there. I can copy and paste what they wrote, and then it'll generate the feedback that I could give to them so that I'm not coming home and checking 500 essays that sound all the same. Now, as educator, I do say that you should read them, but that does help with productivity for you and being able to give them specific feedback to the rubric. So lots of cool tools to use here. And again, just get on it, use the free version, but also look at all the different tools that you can use. If you need like your IEP generator, a lot of campuses use this, the IEP generator. And just to go back a little bit to what I was saying about like the different platforms, the chat platforms that's specific to one category, like Magic School is geared towards education. So that the outputs will pull from different educational components, the same as research or law or science. Doctors probably have a platform that they use because they do use AI a lot. They use Google a lot too, which I didn't know until a couple of years ago, that they use it a lot just as we would. I mean, a lot more advanced because their knowledge on health and science is more advanced, but they still use Google and AI just like we do. Any questions, thoughts, or for my Magic School users, anything that you feel like you want to ask or you want to say out loud to make sure that new users know? So I'll give you about a minute to drop it in the chat or come off mute or finish Googling it, looking it up, maybe writing it down so that you can go through it later. But that is Magic School. So we've done these, and I want to now come to Khan Academy, which is the last thing that I will, new tool that I will share for tonight. Khan Academy. How many Khan Academy users do we have? Either you use it or maybe your students are using it. It has been around for a while. Even when I was a teacher, in a classroom teacher, we used Khan Academy and I loved it, but it has really evolved and it continues to evolve. So if you are an educator, you're not using Khan Academy, and or if you have children, and or if you have young adults that are in, oh yeah. If you have Mr. Jenkins, or is it Khan Academy or is it Magic School with the
It's
writing object?
Khan Academy.
Oh yeah.
It just gave me a triple split objective, and I'm like at two different blues levels. I'm like, what is going on here? Come on, this is Khan Academy. They have so many great
What is
things.
that? I know, how disappointing. You better go in that chat for feedback and give that feedback to them so they can fix it tonight. But we are going to look at Khan Academy. And if you guys aren't familiar with Kongmingo, Kongmingo started out as and it may still be, but it started out as a separate AI component, and they partnered with Khan Academy. So it went from Komingo to Khanmingo, Khan. So I don't know if Khan Academy bought Kongmingo or if they're just in partnership, but they have come together, and I love it because whether you have kids, you teach kids, you know some kids that are in school, be it in K-12, or if they are in a graduate level, undergrad, graduate level course, they can use Khan Academy. So I am going to show you, I'm going to stop sharing and then share because I have to show you from my other account. So give me just a second. And while I do that, I do thank you for hanging in there with us this evening. I know it's a lot of information. that's super helpful. And I wanted to make sure to show you guys a couple, give you space to see it in action, to kind of play around with it. So that you can continue to practice and get better and utilize it, help it for your productivity, but also to help and educate your students or your children around the use of using these tools. Okay, so I'm going to reshare. Okay, so now you see Khan Academy. I don't have any students or kids attached to me. Oh, okay. So Khan Academy, again, if you are not familiar with it, it started out oh yeah, Conmingo. Oh, cool. I didn't think about that. So you'll see like they with the Khan Academy and Conmingo, you'll see this looks a lot like what Magic School, right? All they do is get each other's not information, but get each other's idea and make it better. So it's always like I created it first, but I created second, now it's better, so everyone wants to use mine. So you'll notice that a lot of the tools and things look the same, right? You have your lesson plan, and all this wasn't in Khan Academy. It would be like you find a video that your kids could use in class. You could input questions or was something else already created. But now they have it to where you can also look, if you use Blooket, which I know is very popular, it can do, it has that. Your IEP assistant, again, you want to write something, you need some directions, here you want to create an exit ticket. It has all of these tools. So as an educator, super friendly for you to use. Most kids are familiar with it because they use it. So this is Khan Academy with Conmingo. Okay, so let me show you. So these are the tools. You can use it as a teacher. You can use it as a teacher or a student, right? So this is, I don't want to assign anything. Let me go back. But I want to show you how Khan Academy and Conmingo, how they have partnered. So a lot of people are using Eureka Math. If you're using Eureka Math, I don't know. I want to say like, oh, great. But some people may be like, no. But I just want to take you to, I'm going to do science. We're going to do 8th grade science because we're in Texas. And so as a student, here we have all of the things that we can go through for 8th grade science. If I want to do something specific, right, I'm going to do chemical reaction just because, and I'm going to start. But what I like about this, so I'm going to practice. And again, I like it because you can assign it to students and they can do it in class, like in stations, or they can do it for homework. So if your kids are struggling, like my daughter is in biology. She's in biology. Yeah, she's in biology right now, AP biology, and it's kicking her butt. And so I'm like, girl, we can get on Conmingo. I mean, we can get on Khan Academy. You have no excuse to come home and say you don't know what to do because there is a tool for you. And then we can answer the question. Now, I'm not reading this. I'm just putting something in. Okay, so then when I go to check, I didn't get it right. So it's going to tutor me. And then it's going to walk me through. So now I am logged in as a teacher. And so right now this is giving me like as a teacher. So again, if you have new teachers and they need to study, or you are a new teacher to that grade level or subject and you need to study, you can go here and then walk me through this exercise, explain this exercise, help me write a lesson plan, help me check my answer. It explains what went wrong. So this is the teacher side. I can click here. And now I'm on student mode. So if I was a student, this is what it would look like. I answered it over here. It is wrong. So now as a student, help me solve it, try a similar example. Why should I even care about learning this? Which we know if you teach 8th grade, that question is asked a lot. So I'm just gonna click on that just for entertainment. Why should I learn this? Care about learning this, and it's going to give me session. But I could go back and say, help me solve it. And now it's going to help me. It's going to walk me through the process, you know, to help me. So again, when we talk about the having a tutor, then this helps to tutor kids as a student tutor, or it can help as a teacher assistant as well. So Khan Academy definitely is a go-to for student work. It has tons of materials here. This is my actual school version side, which I feel like is they didn't pay for all the stuff that I would have paid for, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so I'm going to go. I don't even know what I clicked on. I just clicked on something. Let's give me a picture. Gives me a little code read text that I'm looking at right now. I'm doing text evidence in an informational text. If you teach ELA, you know that this is number one. Informational text is something that our students really struggle with. So it gives me a little article and it's on the 6th grade level. I can answer it. I didn't read it, so this might be right or might be wrong. I don't know. Oh, it was right. And then it goes to the next question. I'm just gonna choose something. Tutor me. I'm gonna turn it on as a, oh, help me explain this. I might need that. As a teacher, I need to know, how do I explain text evidence in this informational text? And it is helping me. Actually, our 5th graders are reading about the Mayans. So that is super eerie that it pulled up about the Mayans. But I want to go look at it as a student. Again, it as a student tutor or as a teacher assistant. So Khan Academy, again, for yourself, for your partner teachers, for your students, for your kids, Khan Academy is a great resource. And I'm not sure, a lot of districts, a lot of school districts do use Khan Academy. So this is definitely something that I would say for sure, because it'll give you both stuff for your students to work on and for you. And I just clicked here and it says writing coach. And I'm not sure what that is, but if you're a writing teacher, this seems like something I would need to look into. I'm not gonna do that right now, but I am definitely going to look into that. I just clicked on Kung Mingo and then I was gonna go to Teacher Tools to show you, but they have a writing coach and I'm definitely going to look into that later. So put points down for that. Just going back to the Teacher Tools, again, this looks like Magic School Bus, operates probably the same. If I wanted to create an exit ticket, I could create an exit ticket. Or I saw something that looked, oh, create informational text. I don't want to do that. Any questions, thoughts, or anything that someone who uses Khan Academy that I didn't share that you think is worthy of the group? Oh, they did an exit ticket on snakes. Cute. Okay, so let me get out of this. And let me go back to here. Alrighty, so I have showed you some different tools. We went through Notebook LM, ChatGPT, Khan Academy with Kung Mingo, 11 Labs, and Magic School. Those are all some great tools. If you don't mind, you can drop in the chat which tools did you like download or write out to the side that you are going to try out and look more into. Yes, for sure. For sure, Claudia. You're only going to learn how to use it if you use it. If you don't use it, you won't. Some of the things we use, it has AI, just automatically it has AI, when of course, you know, they're like, oh, their big brother is listening to us. That is all ran through. It's a lot of AI components that sync up our phones and things. Yes, thank you. Okay, Notebook LM, 11 Labs for sure. All great tools. And again, I only pay for ChatGPT. So what I showed you, and when I use the products, I only use the free versions so far. For sure, 11 Labs and Magic. Thank you guys for sharing. Keep dropping that in the chat. So I do want to point out that for AI for Education is a great tool for you guys to use. So as you're continuing to learn about AI, and if you ever want to go down a rabbit hole, then AI for Education is where you can do it. They have a lot of resources for free that you can use. And let me go here, this particular. And then here they have webinars that are free. Like if they've already happened, they'll have them down below like they've already happened. You can listen to it. You know, when you have time, you're driving in a car, they have curriculum, lots of resources. So if you're like leading the work of AI, deep fakes is something that is a huge issue. They're going to have a webinar coming up about deep research. So if that is something that is important to you, that you need, especially like for me, that's something big for me, like Mr. Jenkins. Well, I don't know if it's Mr. Jenkins or Dr. But that might be something like for you that's coming up. And this is AI for Education. And let me make sure.
Hi. Yes, well, it is doctor, but actually, I don't know if you're trying to show us on your screen, because we're still seeing the Khan Academy.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Thank you for telling me that. Okay, I'm going to show it real quick. Let me switch. I'm going to share. Thank you for telling me, because I was just going on and on. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to drop in the chat for you guys the slide deck so that you have it there. But I was showing you AI for Education, which is where I get a lot of the tools here. All of this is linked. So if you click on these things, it's linked. But when you go there, it looks like this. So I was saying there are webinars if you want to go down a rabbit hole. So we have that, but there are webinars here that you can go to. They're all free. And these are the ones that have already happened. See, they have a lot of them. But I was saying that they have a deep research one that is coming up that I know that's going to be important for me, but it is coming up. If you miss it, then, and that's tomorrow. But if you miss it, it'll just come down here and then you can watch it later. But there are lots of different webinars. So if you really want to learn more, if you're leading the work in your district or in your team around learning more about AI for Education is a great place to start. Also like Microsoft for Education and T-Mobile for Education. I will add those to the slide deck as well, but they have lots of tools here. Curriculum pieces, lots and lots of resources. So depending on what you're looking for, you can probably find it here as a starting point. But I gave you some links there. So as we get ready to close, are there any questions? Anything that you still have a question around? Feel free to drop it in the chat, and or you can ask me. Oh, Ms. Mendez was like, we can't see. Okay, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or feel free to come off mute. And then I want to make sure I put this up big. So, and this is the link to the slide deck, but I also already dropped it in the chat. You have my email here. So if you have a question, if you have a celebration, if you run into a wall, like I'm trying to do something and I remember you said, but I can't remember, then you can hit me up through email. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter. You can find me on LinkedIn as well with my first and last name. Oh, and then I said next stop is the AI for Education session 2, which is today. I don't know what's next for me. I've done a lot of work this summer. I did some work with Microsoft AI for Education, and with here recently T-Mobile AI for Education, and then these 2 sessions. So I hope you are able to gain something and learn something that you can take away with you immediately. And it is my hope that you have taken something that you can continue to explore and to grow your knowledge base around AI. We know it's not going away. It's going to just keep coming and coming and coming. It will evolve. So our kids need it, and they need to know about it and how to utilize it in an impactful way, especially our high school students who are preparing to go into the workforce and into college life. So again, thank you guys for being here. If you have questions, come off mute, put in the chat, and I will try my best to answer. But you guys have been a pleasure. Thanks for being 110 locked in. This is going to be recorded, so you'll get an email, I believe. Claudia, stop me if I'm wrong, with the information on how to continue the learning if you need to go back and watch the recording again. And you will notice on the slide deck, which I did not say, it is the first slide deck and the second one. So if you're looking and you're like, I'm not seeing what she's saying, keep going, because session 2 is right under session 1. I just left them all together, so you'll have it. And I'll volley it back over to you, Claudia.
Thank you, Monique, and thank you everyone for joining us this evening. Does anybody have any questions before we close?
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for being here. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you again. And I will send a follow-up email with the link to access the video. That way, if you want to revisit that, you can, and also with the links that were shared during the session. So if there are no questions, we wish everyone a beautiful night. We invite you to our next session, which is next Wednesday. It will be on mindfulness meditation, which is one of my favorite topics. I'm not sure if mindfulness meditation or AI more. Those are really big topics right now. So I'll send you that information too in case you want to join us. But other than that, we wish you a great night. Take care of yourself. Do something you love. We hope you can stay. Thank you. Thank you again, Monique. Awesome.
Oh, thank you.
As always.
It's been a pleasure. Oh, thank you so much.
Take
Thank you,
care.
Monique.
Thank you, Jamie. I saw you popped in. Thank you for hanging out. Thank y'all so much.
Bye.